Hello everyone, welcome back to Steam Code. In this video we're going to be registering and responding to slash commands with discord.js. So let's jump right into it. So the first thing we're going to want to do is, before we change anything, let's change this message event because message is deprecated, so you need to change that to message create. So I'm just going to do that right now to make sure we all have that correct going forward. Message create. Alright, and then next you're going to want to install Discord builders, discord.js REST, and Discord API types, because you're going to need all three of those, so make sure you install those. Alright, once that's done, then there are two things you're going to need to add to your config file. And I can't show you mine because it has my token, but the two things you're going to need to add are your client ID and your guild ID. And there are multiple ways you can get these. Or head to your user settings, under app settings, go to advanced, then check developer mode, and then you can just get your guild ID by getting that, copy the ID. And then for your client ID, get the name of get your bot, and right click and select the copy ID off the drop down menu. And then just add those fields in your config.json file and you should be good to go. And then lastly, you want to make sure your bot has the proper permissions. So head to your Discord developer portal, select bot, select applications.command, and then also select administrator. Then copy this link, paste it in your address bar, and add that bot to your server with the proper abilities, permissions enabled. Alright, so now that we have that out of the way, we can actually get started. So after you've added that to your config file, then we're going to want to create another file. And this file is for deploying our command that we create. So we'll call this deploy commands.js. And so we're going to need to require a few things. So constant fs equals require fs. This requires fs from node. Constant rest equals require at discord.js /rest. We're also going to need to require routes. So you can just copy this line and then repeat the process for routes. This is going to be Discord API types version 9. And we're also going to need the client ID, guild ID, and token. So constant, then client ID, guild ID, and token. And those will all come from our config file. Require config.json. And lastly, we're going to want slash command builder. So constant slash command builder equals require, and then at discord.js /builders. Alright, so that's what we need in regards to our constants. And we're also, for the command handler, we're also going to need a constant for the commands. and also a constant that contains the command files. So constant command files equals fs dot read dir sync, and then dot commands. This is the same code that we wrote for the command handler video, so it should look very familiar if you have seen that. File dot ends with JS. If you'd like an explanation of what this does, you can head to that video and I explain it very well there. Alright, so now let's state constant rest equals new rest, and then version will be 9. And right now what we're doing is creating the code to deploy our commands onto our guild or our server. Then set token to the token. And then we're going to create an asynchronous function. And we're going to have a try catch block, so try, and then routes dot application guild command, and then we're going to send it the client ID and the guild ID. And then for the body, it will just be the commands that we have up there. We haven't populated it yet though. And then we're going to need our catch block. Actually, we need this statement: await rest dot put Now within our catch, we can say console.error and then error. And then within our try block, just to make sure that we've done it correctly, we can console.log successfully registered application commands. Alright, so basically what this is doing is it's registering the commands using our client ID and the guild ID from the commands array, and it's adding all of those commands to our server. So as you can see right here, there are a few commands, ping and roles, that belong to the bot that have been added to the server by me ahead of time. So now we need to actually populate this commands array with commands that so that these commands can actually be set once we run deploy commands.js. So if you only had a few commands, you could populate the commands the same way that we did in our first video, in which we just created each and every command handler one by one. But we already have these commands, and they've already been made with the / command builder, so we might as well use these. So we can just use the exact same concept that we used from the previous video of using a command handler. So we can say for constant file of command files, constant command equals require dot commands slash and then the file, and then commands dot push. So we're adding this to the commands array, command dot data dot to JSON. And that's really all we need for our command handler. So now let's actually see how this works. So node deploy commands.js. And it looks like there's an error. Okay, so I fixed the error, and it was a problem with my own system and not with the code that we have written. So you should so once you try that node deploy commands, it should respond with successfully registered application commands. And now once you head over to our Discord, type in a slash. As you can see, the two commands that we have, ping and react, will both show up. If you try one of them, well, mine responds with a pong. Try react. Now as you see, there is an error right here. And yours should produce an error when you use both of them. Mine didn't because I already had the bot running from ahead of time. But now we're going to actually respond to our we're going to be responding to our slash command, so it will not produce an error. So we're going to need to create another event handler. This event will be the interaction create event. So new file, interaction create.js. And for this, we can really just copy what we have for message create, and then we're going to change a lot of the body of the code. So head to interaction create, paste what we have for message create, change the name, change this from message to interaction. Let's just get rid of the body. We'll replace it. So first, determine if this interaction is a command. So if not interaction dot is command, then we can just return. So if the interaction is not a command, if it's some other type of interaction, then don't do anything that follows this line of code. Then we're going to create constant command. This is equal to client.commands.get interaction.command name. So now we're getting the command. And if command for whatever reason does not exist, then also return. So don't do anything that follows this line of code. Then we're going to have a try catch block. So try await command dot execute interaction. So remember, we're just running the execute method that we created in our command handlers. So if I head to my ping command, as you can see, we created this execute method on interaction that's sent, and then we reply to that interaction with pong hello. So head back to interaction create. That's all we need for the try statements. Now let's do our catch statement. So catch error, console.error error, and then await interaction dot reply. The content will be exactly what you see there. There was an error while executing this command. We'll have 2 exclamation points. And then also we're going to need to set ephemeral to true to make it so that we are the only ones that can see this error bot or this error message. So ephemeral set to true. And now we have our response. So now let's save and let's try this again. So we are deployed. So now we need to actually boot up our bot. So node index.js. Alright, now our bot's online. So now let's actually use the command ping. And it responds with pong hello, because in our ping we have here pong hello. Now let's try the react / command. And as you can see, it responds with an error. The reason why it responds with an error, even though we've added the event handler, is because of the nature of our react command. Our react command reacts to the message that was sent. And in this case, there was no message sent. It was a / command. But if I were to say !react, as you can see, now it reacts to the messages without producing an error. So that's something you kind of have to keep in mind. Make sure that the commands that you create will not produce an error depending on which way the user uses the command. Or you can just create 2 separate lists of commands and add them to your handlers like that. That's not too difficult to do. But as you can see, we've done a very basic overview of / commands. And I hope you've enjoyed. I hope you've learned. And this has been Steam Code. I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you.